Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Link Live. My name is Marina Mayer, Editor-in-Chief of Food Logistics and Supply and Demand Chain Executive. And I'm here with Mackenna. Mackenna, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Mackenna, and I'm the assistant editor, and Brielle's out today.
Brielle's out today. So every time one of us is out, it kind of throws off our entire introduction. So welcome today. As you can see, we have guests. We'll get to them in a minute. If you go to foodlogistics.com right now, you'll see our September issue. The digital edition is live on our site. And we're very excited because it's talking about the post-grocery shopping in a post-pandemic world. We're very, very, very excited. And then tune in next week to Link Live, and you'll see the big reveal, our Women in Supply Chain winner of the year for our new SDCE award. So very, very excited. So thank you, everybody. And I am here, we are both here with Nichole Mumford, Vice President of Marketing, Engagement, and Education, and Heather Wood, Senior Director of Events for the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited. We love CSCMP, and next week they launch their CSCMP Edge, which is their first virtual show for those of you who just woke up to 2020. All of these shows went virtual, and they are no exception to the rule, but it's very, very exciting because they have tons of great things to talk about. So we can just kind of dive in. If you wanted to kind of explain to our viewers some of the cool features of this virtual show and what the exhibitors and attendees can expect.
Sure, yeah, we can promise a truly immersive and 3D experience of what our conference would have been like if we were in Florida. So you know that CSCMP is known for our educational content, and even going virtual certainly did not hold us back. Attendees can expect a plethora of sessions. We have over 130 sessions across 3 days, one-on-one networking, a strong support system to get those answers they need to go back to their teams and make sure their supply chains are stronger and more resilient than ever.
Perfect. So Mackenna, I know we talked about their State of the Logistics report that they just released, if you wanted to kind of go with the question that you had.
So in June, CSCMP released its 2020 State of the Logistics Report. One of the takeaways was the logistics field will need to construct entirely new levels of supply chain resilience. Can you just touch on this a little bit?
Sure. Well, first, the report has been produced annually for decades, and it really provides a snapshot of American economy from the view of the logistics sector. And when before the pandemic started in March, the year was really off to a strong start, and supply chains were ultra efficient, single sourced, a lot of single sourcing and just-in-time capabilities, and then a lot of things came up when the pandemic started, and companies that manufacture goods and services have had to take a look at their resilience in a lot of different ways. And it transforms the way that companies address these things. And we launched it in June. We will have an updated version of that report that presents at the Edge conference. If you're joining us, it'll be live on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. And all attendees will get a copy of that report. So authored by Kearney. And so that entire team will be available to answer questions during the event. And we also had a few industry deep dives that we're providing, automotive and I can't remember the second one, but those are also available for attendees.
It's very cool. We were all so optimistic at the beginning of 2020.
I know. How nice to be in Florida right now.
Would be, certainly.
And I know we wanted to talk long-term. I know that's hard to kind of, it's really hard for any of us to kind of see into the future at this point. I know, Mackenna, we had talked offline kind of like what the long-term looks like. I know you had a question for them.
Mm-hmm. So reshoring, offshoring, and a surge in e-commerce and influx in technologies are all key factors in building a pandemic-proof supply chain. So what are some key trends and technologies that you're seeing from some of your members?
Sure. We have over 130 educational sessions broadcasting live across 3 days. The key trends are the impacts from the external forces. Obviously, COVID-19, government response support, social unrest, hurricanes, fires, and of course, we have that election that's looming. So businesses are feeling the effects of these events. Forecasts, demand patterns, manufacturing, distribution, transportation, available labor, sales and revenue. The entire retail supply chain has been drastically impacted, with big box companies doing very well while others are closing doors. So the fourth quarter will really look different, shifting even more online. And easily we can look at all of this from the transportation lens. Demand has outstripped supply in most modes across many corridors for import and domestic multimodal transportation services. And that's all due to COVID and response strategies that have sidelined capacity. So we have several sessions and discussion groups tackling these topics. As we know, our attendees want to share their experiences. They also want to discuss the forecasts for many of these elements across supply chain operations. So we have quite a bit going on. With the 130 sessions, there's quite a bit to talk about.
Do you think some of the trends that are occurring because of COVID are here to stay permanently now?
That's certainly a question for the experts. I think it's going to be a long road for sure. The reshoring manufacturing, the election, everything's playing into each other, right? So I definitely think it's here to stay for a while.
Mm-hmm. Instead of just one disruption, we've had like 37.
Oh.
Exactly.
I know.
And
now we have
the year.
Hurricane Sally making landfall, and it's just between the hurricanes and all the civil unrest that happens, and then the pandemic. These companies are dealing with a lot. Do you kind of see? I always ask this to companies, and there really is no solution. There's really no magic answer. But how are you seeing a lot of your members, what kind of positive things are they doing to kind of help them better themselves in a situation like this?
I'll let Nichole take that one.
Okay. Well, I think one of the things that is, one of our core responsibilities is to connect and educate our members. And so within our community, sometimes just facilitating an introduction or an opportunity to have a discussion about pain points, sharing best practices, for example. And so we early on, before we realized the length of this pandemic, we were having member only Fridays where we were jumping onto webinars, and our CEO would be interviewing other corporate member companies, and individuals could participate and just share what challenges are you facing, what best practices, what are next steps, what are things we should be thinking of, and just sort of all of these professionals coming together to share those ideas. So we're doing that again at our conference. We do it every year. And so this year it's just a little bit different because we're doing it virtually. And so it might mean our attendees have to engage a little differently, but you're still going to see that range of content. And even though we've used our historical names for the tracks, COVID has touched everything. So it's going to be in all of those discussions, all of these other things that we've touched on today, you're going to find enmeshed in all of these other conversations. But we have seen some great responses. We have seen some of our corporate members shift their manufacturing, and they've produced masks. One company in particular used to produce t-shirts, and they transitioned their entire line to be able to produce masks. Other companies have made adaptations in how they're delivering goods or providing safety for their diverse workforce, et cetera. So there's going to be some stories of success for sure.
Do you see some categories or channels in the supply chain kind of being harder hit than others? I know that the food took a big hit just because of the demand part of it. Do you see other kinds of channels being kind of more affected than others?
Certainly anybody that was single sourcing from China learned a hard and valuable lesson. That's just the most obvious example, but when we talk about reshoring, those are not easy fast or inexpensive decisions. And so, yeah, anybody that has to take a look at that, I would think is maybe the hardest hit. But grocery and retail, maybe retail more than grocery as well. We've seen a lot of, just look at your neighborhood. What businesses have survived, and what have you seen go out of business in the last 6 months? So we've seen it all over the place.
And what kind of advice or suggestions do you have for companies in order to be, able to build a more resilient supply chain for tomorrow? And supply chain resiliency is huge, but everybody's like, I'm prepared, but then push comes to shove and maybe they're not as prepared. Are there certain areas of their company that they should be kind of focusing on now?
I think you have to take a holistic view at your process, because what works for one company or what one company needs to address isn't going to be the same for another company. I was on a webinar earlier this year, and a consulting firm was sharing that in previous recessions, so if you look back at our most recent serious recession, companies that did a holistic view of their supply chains and invested in technological advancements to streamline and improve processes typically came out of recessions in a better place than they started. So I don't think that there's a single fit. And Heather can weigh in if she's got a different perspective, but I don't think there's one answer for even all retail or all 3PL, for example. I don't think there's a single answer. I think this exposed a number of weaknesses, and each company is going to have to take a holistic view at their supply chain and address the areas where they saw the most impact or need for improvement.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Heather, were you gonna?
No, I was just
okay.
gonna agree. Yeah, I think she hit it on the point. Staying resilient. It just means you're mapping your suppliers and your network. Knowing where those gaps are, bottlenecks. You've got to mitigate that risk and ensure that you can have a strong collaborative strategy across your suppliers. So yeah, I think she hit it on the head.
So I know we kind of talked about professional development, and that's something that we always talk about with us. It's just, and the way professional development, that whole category, has transcended as a way, because now everybody's e-learning or everything's virtual. What kinds of opportunities are you seeing your members provide to kind of enforce professional development, either within their company or to kind of get more folks interested in the supply chain industry?
I have to say we've been pushing professional development, but I think I've seen more scramble, and I haven't seen as many companies embrace professional development in the way that I would expect. What I've seen is people that are in the job search market lean into certifications and e-learning, those credentials, because the job market has, rewind a year. Most juniors in supply chain management programs had job offers. And good job offers, the economy was booming in that sector. And now a lot of people who had internships and jobs lined up have had those offers rescinded because of the chaos in the environment now. So I've seen those people lean into credentials and certifications and et cetera. But I haven't seen as many companies as I would think yet, and I could be wrong. Just at our organization, we haven't seen as many companies lean into it yet. A lot of questions about it, but I don't know if they always know where to start with that. So it's an area for opportunity.
That is something that we have discussed on our Link Educate podcast with Justin Goldston. He really encouraged students to get as many certifications as you can and to get these internships, because it really sets you apart from any other average Joe that is applying for jobs in the same field, especially at a time where things are just so uncertain. Jobs are going to look for students that have these certifications over someone that just has good grades, probably.
It helps you stand out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. So was there anything else you wanted to kind of talk about regarding CSCMP Edge? It's very exciting, and I can't believe it's here, because I feel like when we started talking about all this, it was a couple of months ago, and now we're here, and it's like, whew. Is there anything else you wanted to let our viewers know what to expect?
I would just say there's still time to sign
Yeah.
up if you haven't, because
They
it's
told me.
virtual, you can. So definitely take advantage of it. And if you're thinking about it, I would say, get signed up. Doors open on Sunday. There's not a lot of content on Sunday, but it's new. It's a new platform. I haven't seen anything like it. Getting signed up and getting logged in on Sunday, you can fill out that V card that I mentioned. I think we were talking offline yet.
Yeah.
We'll have V cards with your headshots, right? So we'll have breakout sessions that are Zoom based, very similar to what we're doing. This is what face-to-face is now. There'll be moderated discussions, and so because there's so much content, you're going to want to take a look at the schedule and figure out where you want to be, because when you're in a particular room, you can still message and connect with and email other attendees in that room. So there are still opportunities. Admittedly, they're quite different than anything you've seen before, but they're there. But you might have to put a little bit more effort into it to get full advantage. And so I think that getting signed up and getting prepared is one of the best things that you could do if you're still interested in joining us.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know we'll be checking it out. I believe we do have a booth as well, which I have to go online and confirm the booth number, which I should have done beforehand, but mornings happen, and as we all know, you get kind of steered away with stuff. But come see us at our booth. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be a part of your program. And I appreciate you ladies both coming on today. So this has been very educational. I know that it's a hard world out there for a lot of people, but there's organizations like yours that are really, kind of helping and stand as a good role model to allow people to be a part of this industry and kind of grow. And so I appreciate all of your efforts.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And thank you to everybody watching. We'll see you next week, L.I.N.K Live, when we'll be revealing our big Women in Supply Chain winner. Very excited. So go to SDCExec.com to get all the information. And while you're at it, go to foodlogistics.com right now. You'll see our September issue is live. And make sure you register for our SEN Summit, September 29th, as we discuss in-store and online automation and robotics. Very, very exciting. So thank you, Heather and Nichole. Thank you, McKenna, as always. Yes.
Apply for the FL100 award. It closes on Friday, and we are not extending the deadline. We are not extending the deadline. But then we also have a code to get $40 off your registration fee when you register for CSCMP Edge. Just use the code SUPPLY.
Yes. So definitely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we'll see everybody next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.